Yeah, so those of you who know me would know that actually I'm somebody who doesn't enjoy attention. I don't like talking about myself, especially because I'm a very private person. But today, I feel like it's important for us to talk a little bit about where the greenhouse came from, where we are at now, and where we are headed to together. So I will have to share quite vulnerably and openly about some of my experiences. I hope that today we will hear something that makes us laugh, maybe hear something that makes us cry. And if we are all angry about the things that need to be changed, that's also okay. There's space for all of these things that we're feeling. It's safe to feel these things. So, I remember when I was in DRC, I was arrested for drug use, and my counselor was this lady, very nice. So she asked me, how often were you using drugs? And I said I was using every day, that I couldn't stop. And she asked, so what were you doing with your time when you were not at home with other guys? And I told her that I used to go to this temple at Waterloo Street. And she burst out laughing because she realized I was going to the temple very often. I was high on drugs. And that made me understand the huge divide between those who need help and those who are providing help. That she didn't understand that the reason I was going to the temple every day at one point of time was because I was really looking for a way out. By the time that I was using every day, my family didn't know what to do with me. They couldn't understand what was happening or how to help me. And my boyfriend kept telling me that I don't believe you want to stop using drugs. If you wanted to stop, you would have stopped. You are lying to me. So I was waking up every day with nowhere to go. And I was actually considered a very successful person by other gay men because I was earning a lot of money, driving a car at my own house, and yet I felt like so miserable. I felt that there's no reason for me to wake up, nowhere for me to go at all. So those hours I spent in the temple alone high, I was actually praying that there will be an answer, that I could find a way out of this. And I feel very grateful that the greenhouse has happened. Because about a year ago, I started hearing from other people in our recovery family that, oh, I was at the same temple, I was making the same prayers. And then I started to hear that, oh, I was in the mosque, on my knees, saying the same thing. I was also in church, offering the same prayers. And it's so strange that we've been operating for about 5 years, but I've only started hearing these things about a year ago. And it made me realize that this place that we all call home doesn't belong to me. It doesn't belong to you either. It belongs to all of us. And creating a safe space where we all feel like a part of family takes a lot of effort, it takes a lot of time, but it takes a lot of commitment for us all to keep it safe. The greenhouse isn't safe because it's safe because we make it safe. So I'm saying this because all of us in this room come from very diverse backgrounds. We come from different faiths. Some of us also are atheists or agnostic, which is super okay. Because there's a clinical definition of spiritual actually. A lot of people are always surprised to learn that the clinical definition of spiritual is a sense of connection to others, some form of meaning or purpose that makes us want to get out of bed. Some reason for us to be here, like all this suffering isn't for nothing. That all this thing that I've gone through, there's a reason for it and I can pay it forward. And that kind of thing doesn't require a religion, even though that's helpful to some of us. So I want to remind all of us, please keep this home safe. Please love and respect each other. Please make space for difference. It's very okay that we have strong opinions or that we express them strongly, but please never tell somebody else that, oh, I don't agree with you, you're wrong, I'm right, because the place starts to feel very unsafe when we do that. Okay? Why is the greenhouse a family? This is something that we shared with the Ministry of Social and Family Development recently, which is why Minister of State Sun Xueling mentioned us in Parliament. We did a research study to find out why our clients are using drugs. So on the left, you can actually see that we measured in percentages. These are the traumatic experiences most of our clients have had. And the frightening thing, of course, is that we present with up to 15 of these experiences, but the average is 5. meaning that many of the clients sitting here today, we would experience up to 5 of these experiences each. And there's a lot of things that we need to heal from, which is why we started calling ourselves a family. There's another study that showed overseas that we're more likely to have sex without protection, take drugs, we have anxiety, depression, and attempt suicide. And it's because we don't feel loved and accepted. So it's very important for us to love and accept each other, even when it's hard for us to do it, even when we don't feel like doing it, because that's what makes us heal and grow. So some of you may have heard this story before. I think actually, because there's so many new people, actually many of us may not have heard how I stopped using. I was trying a lot of different doctors. I tried many things. Nothing seemed to work, right? And then I went to a really, really expensive addiction recovery center overseas. It didn't work either. So when I went to prison and I came out, and a lot of people were very judgmental that I started using again, and they didn't know that I really wanted to stop. I just couldn't. I didn't know how. So I showed up for a recovery meeting high off my face. Like, I had not slept for a week. I was sweating. I was paranoid. I felt so ashamed of myself. And suddenly I realized that nobody else in that room judged me. They all understood what I was struggling with. And they took turns to hug me and told me that, "Oh, Rick, I believe you. I believe that you want to stop using drugs. I know that you're a good person and you can do it." I felt so loved and accepted for the first time in my life that I never had the urge to use drugs again. Since that day, more than 5 years ago, I just never had a craving because I understood there's no reason for me to be ashamed for myself. I am a good person, even if other people cannot see. And so everything that we've been doing at the greenhouse since that day has been trying to capture that for all of us. We are good people. We want to stop using drugs. If there's something that keeps us in pain, we can look for it. We can help each other feel loved and accepted. It's going to be okay. And that's the most important thing that we can offer to each other. This is the reason why the greenhouse is a family. So we talked a little bit about where we came from, where we are at. Let's talk a little bit about where we're going to. So we've been very fortunate to have the support of certain government ministries who have empathy for our situation and who are helping us find a new location. And I'd like to share with you what we plan to do at the new place, because we've always had this biopsychosocial model, right? Looking after the body, looking after the heart, making sure that we have a community that supports us. We want to start having this spiritual experience that we're talking about. I have worth and I can serve. So the new center that we are looking for is going to help us do that by helping us all connect with ourselves and others in a sense of purpose. Very technical graphs. First thing in the morning, I know, but 5 years in the making, yeah, we finally put it together in one slide. All the things that we're hoping to do. So the 3 pillars is research, understanding what's happening, and then of course we will create interventions based on the things that we found out. And once we've measured whether it works or not, we want to bring different people across Singapore together so we can learn from each other. How do we do it better? Because we firmly believe that anybody can heal from trauma and alcohol addiction. And I want to bring your attention to the spiritual column, which is the new thing. Can you imagine a world in which those of us who are traumatized and are trying to manage, instead of being sent for prison, we can go to a safe place where we meet other people like us who are inspired to change. And all of the things that we do, we wake up in the morning, we do our yoga and meditation, and then we go for a recovery meeting before breakfast. Then we'll start to grow food for the country. We will actually cook food for the hungry. We have already learned through our therapeutic horticulture how to grow rare plants that bring in funding. But also, we will be able to look after animals that we abandoned. To me, this is such a efficient, better way of making sure that we rehabilitate. Because when you think about it, that term is so strange. How do you rehabilitate a trauma survivor? It's healing that needs to happen. And of course, we don't know whether these assumptions are correct, but we're so excited for an opportunity to find out together. So I wouldn't embarrass the client who's now appears supported by naming names, but I wanted to show you this very rare plant that he created. Yeah, so I don't know whether you can see, but it's variegated. So it's very unusual. There's very high value. And I love it when our clients can hold their hands and say, oh, this is me. Different isn't bad or wrong. Different is special, is highly favored, is very treasured. That's who I am. For them to be able to propagate, to actually make more rare plants from it and understand that, oh, we're windowed healers who pay our recovery forward. To me, that's a fantastic way of us to spread the message. That's the point. I wish you can clap if you want to. I can't remember whether I have another slide. Oh yeah, so cool. So because of that, we keep having all these clients who think, why can't I stop using drugs? Why can't I quit? And I think that's because we are not helping them understand well. We're not here to quit using drugs, we're here to heal from trauma. And so we're changing the slogan for the greenhouse. It's no longer, I can't even remember, relate, rebuild, recover. Yeah, there's a long explanation for it, but I think we're all here to heal and grow. And we're all here to heal and grow by creating a safe space where we can all connect with ourselves, with others, and sense of purpose. Oh wow, I survived my speech.